This week I'll be answering questions about the healthiest cooking oils, how to make popcorn in a pot, and what's the difference between home-cooked food and restaurant food. This and more. Stay tuned. Hi everybody, I'm Chef Ben. This is Questions of the Week, and this week I decided to scour the internet and find 5 really interesting questions. So those are the questions I'm going to answer today. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Question 1, what are the healthiest cooking oils? So this is a tough question to answer, and there's a lot of conflicting information and arguments about it. Really, it depends on what you're doing. If you're sauteing or deep frying something at really high heat, canola oil is actually a pretty safe bet. It's low in saturated fats, and ideally you're not actually going to get that much of the oil in your food. You don't need to use much if you're sauteing and deep frying. The idea is that the oil is hot enough that when the food goes in, it's not really absorbing the oil. The oil is searing the outside. So for sauteing or deep frying, on high heats, canola oil is good. Peanut oil is okay. For lower heat things, olive oil is always a good choice. But then when you get into like coconut oils and avocado oil, they're high in saturated fats, they're fatty, so just be careful with that stuff. I know a lot of people hate canola oil, but it's actually pretty good for what it's used for. So the healthiest cooking oils, I would say, stick with olive oil and canola oil would be your best bet. If you're making vinaigrettes or something, it's a different story, but for cooking specifically, I would say canola oil, olive oil, and butter, because butter is really delicious. What's the difference between restaurant cooking and home cooking? The biggest difference between restaurant cooking and home cooking is there's two really. It's fat. We use a lot of butter or fats, and seasoning. We season everything: salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of sugar depending on what it is. We taste, we season some more, we season, we taste some more, taste, season. We go back and forth like that until it is what we consider perfect. So the big difference between restaurant food and home cooked food is seasoning. That's really the key. Also, like, restaurant food is not really meant to be eaten all the time because we make it fatty, we make it salty. That's how we make it delicious. That's why you shouldn't eat in a restaurant every day. Number 3, how do you cook popcorn in a pot? This is actually my preferred way to make popcorn. It's how I make it 3 or 4 times a week. The secret is just heat the pot up over kind of like a medium-high heat. So my burner goes to 9, I turn it up to 6. Heat it up, add some oil. Once the oil's hot, add enough popcorn just to cover the bottom. Put a lid on the pot and then just shake it every couple of seconds. It should start to pop pretty quick, and just keep shaking the pot gently. If the kernels stay kind of stationary, they're going to burn, which you do not want, because burnt popcorn sucks and it stinks. So yeah, really it's just heat the pot, heat the oil, add the popcorn just enough to cover the bottom, put a lid on it, and shake it regularly. Don't ever walk away from it because it'll burn real quick. And really, like, if you heat the pot up properly and the oil up properly, it'll only take like 4 or 5 minutes to pop all your popcorn. How do you cook cauliflower rice? So my favorite way to cook cauliflower rice is to grate the cauliflower, get a pan nice and hot with a little tiny bit of oil or butter, saute the cauliflower really quickly, like 3-4 minutes, take it off the heat, put a lid on it, and then let it steam for like 5 to 10 minutes. Easy peasy, works every time. And you don't have to worry about like squeezing liquid out of it. A lot of times you'll read recipes and people will say to like grate the cauliflower and squeeze all the water. If you do it the way I just said, you don't need to do that. It's way easier. And the cauliflower is always perfect. And how do you cook rice noodles? So rice noodles, generally if you read the instructions on the bag or the box or whatever, it'll say to boil them for 2 to 3 minutes. It's so much easier just to boil water and pour them over the noodles and let them sit for 4 or 5 minutes. Stir them every once in a while so that they don't clump up, and so that like where the noodles are bent will cook evenly. But really, I just take a pot of boiling water or a kettle of boiling water, pour it over the noodles in a bowl, and then just let them sit for a few minutes. And I test them after 4 minutes I'll test them. If they're not quite ready, I'll let them sit for another minute. And by test them, I just mean bite into one. Yeah, to me that's the easiest way to cook rice noodles without overcooking them, because they're very, very, very easy to overcook. And it doesn't matter if they're like thick, like pad thai noodles, or they're vermicelli, whatever it is. That to me is the best way to cook them. Yeah, so there you go. 5 questions just from around the internet. Interesting to answer today. That was 5? Yeah, that was 5. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Chef Ben. This is Questions of the Week. And if you have a question that you would like me to answer, you can ask it in the comments of this video or on any of my social medias, which are facebook.com/Ben Kelly Cooks, Instagram at Chef Ben Kelly, and Twitter at Chef Ben Kelly, or on my blog, howtonotburnshape.com. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're listening on a podcast, I'll talk to you soon.